We are live.
All right. Got some mail we want to read to start off, as you know.
Excellent. I don't know if it's going to beat last week, but we'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. This one's a little special. This one comes from a little Tim Horton, Oshkosh, Wisconsin. He writes, "Dear Craig and Shane, the podcast is great. I never miss an episode, but I have a personal question, and I'd really like you guys' help. Anyone that's heard knows that you guys get all the ladies. There's a girl in my class I really like, and I want to ask her out, but I'm afraid that she'll say no. But my sister says, what's the worst that can happen? What is you guys' advice?" Tim Horton. Tim,
You want to take this one, Shane?
yeah. What's the worst that can happen? I'll tell you. She says no. She says no to in front of other people, and now every time you see her, you know that you've been rejected. You know that you were not worth her saying yes. Like, what do you mean the worst that can happen? It could be terrible, and then you'd have to live with that rejection, and then knowing and see her every day and knowing that she said no. I mean, that's horrible. I think the best thing you can do is to stay in your room and read quietly. Craig, what do you think? Think you should take a chance?
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one and say, although that is an option, I was in the exact same boat, Tim, and she said yes, and now we're happily married with 3 children. This is a tough one, man. It's always tough.
Boy.
I think you should ask her out and read the books.
Well, I mean, I am a janitor, and Craig has 2 successful businesses and a beautiful wife and kids. But I've read a little bit more, so
That's very true. That's very true.
you really got to weigh the pros and cons. So I hope that helped, Tim, and good luck to you.
Good luck, Timmy.
Not only do you have a beautiful wife, but she just brought us cake for the big to-do tomorrow.
Absolutely.
What a gal.
Absolutely. Welcome back, everybody, to the Arcade Comics Podcast. I am your co-host, Craig Ray.
Oh, and I am the other co-host, Shane Pace. Really.
Today we are joined by Richard Shupe as well, and we're going to be talking about The Girl Wonders.
It could barely get through the lobby today because of all the fans coming out for Rick. It was ridiculous.
It was crazy.
You love to see it. Yeah.
Excelsior.
Excelsior.
Much fanfare. But first, we're going to talk about what we've been reading this week.
Yeah, another good week. I didn't. It wasn't as much as I usually do. I did read Shisaku Indo's Silence, that 2016 film that Scorsese adapted, and that really, oof. That'll get you into your soul. So I was like, let me read some Green Arrow. So Green Arrow number 9 by Josh Williamson. It's getting a little bit out of the extra dimensional stuff, and it's very good. The thing about Green Arrow is it moves very fast. Mm-hmm. It's paced so quickly, and that's good. And it doesn't stop to think very much.
And I think, honestly,
in a good way.
When I think back to when Dawn of DC started with the Green Lantern book and Green Arrow, I think that's where Green Lantern had the disadvantage for me. Because Green Arrow kicked off. It was like, boom.
We're just going.
Yeah.
And it's still that if you read all 9 in a row, I feel like it would be like a brisk jog.
Yeah.
Going through them.
It's at a pace.
I read Amazon's Attack number 5, again, spinning out of what's happening in Wonder Woman, where the other Amazons, and Mary Marvel, which is fun, Mary and Yara are being under attack worldwide and, trying to fight back. It's a great book. It's going to end at 6, and it's part of the larger narrative of Wonder Woman, the best book DC's putting out right now. Batman Brave and the Bold came out, number 10. I just hope this goes on forever.
Yeah.
4 anthologized stories, again, great. There was no big standouts. It's coming off of number 9, which I think is the best issue in the series so far, but still fantastic. The Detective 1082, whatever, by Ram V. Boy, folks, I finished the forthcoming Justice League Dark Omnibus last night for the Rebirth era, and Ram V he tells such a beautiful, elegant story. And then I was thinking about Layla Starr and Rare Flavors and Blue and Green and These Savage Shores, and this guy
Swamp Thing.
And Swamp Thing. And so his Detective Comics was just like, that's what he's doing right now. And of course he's doing his big, huge, epic opera, and it continues to sing.
One Hand and the forthcoming Black Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, and there's some news on that front that we'll get to about the Universal Monster. Something was just announced today.
Yep.
Power Girl number 6. This book is a surprise. I didn't think I would like it as much as I do because I love Karen and I was really holding it up to a high standard. And I did not like the backups at all they were doing. But speaking of that, Margaret Savage came back to the art on this one. She was the one that did the backups,
awesome.
and the art's great. And this one throws long. This issue got weird, and you're either there for it or you're not. And I was there for it. But I think the best DC book of the week was Penguin, number 7 by Tom King. It is just superlative work. You're seeing how Penguin goes to the worst crime-ridden town in the world, runs crime, and somehow eludes the Bat. How is that possible? And they're starting to answer that question, and you're starting to see just how cunning, just how smart Oswald is.
And you told me, we were talking earlier this week, and you were saying that Tom King was on interview, and I guess people may not know it, but he's planning this as an ongoing. He'll let it run as long as
he said he'd like to do 80 or 100 issues if he could of the Penguin, and I would love to see that.
Which is awesome.
And Penguin is great though because he's under you take him for granted. When you see him, you don't expect much out of him, and he uses that. Underestimated. That's the word. And this uses that, and it also shows just how absolutely ruthless he can be. I believe Penguin would kill a kid if it would advance his cause. Kingpin would see Oswald and be like, "God damn, dude!
Right,
that is cold." Yeah. So those are my DC books.
All right, that's cool.
Before we do the independent books, though, what we're talking about is the Universal Monsters series that Tynion did the Dracula that just wrapped up, and then we have.
Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is
I can't wait.
The greatest monster of all.
Yeah,
I love that movie. That movie's creepy. But
you were living down in Florida when they filmed that, or the place where they filmed it down in that area, right?
I actually worked at Marine Studios where they filmed it.
Really?
Yeah. It's awesome.
Did you ever see The Creature?
I actually saw Creature publicity, or not publicity photos, but photos that were filmed or taken by our promotional staff.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Sure. Yeah.
That were offset, but like on the beach and around the different animal attractions.
The scene where she's swimming and he's underneath her in the water.
Julie Adams, oh my word, yeah, one of the most beautiful women ever.
Oh boy, but no,
ended her career on Murder She Wrote, I think.
Yeah, not a bad way to do it.
Yeah,
that's where mine started. In August of 2024, Frankenstein is coming.
Yeah.
From Michael Walsh, and I'm like. Which it's great, but also does that mean that we're not doing Silver Coin anymore? It might be done.
Yeah,
but what a great!
But it's a cool. Yeah,
they are just coming with the pairings of creators to these guys.
And I don't want to because I also don't want to overlook this. We've been giving Ram V total credit from Creature from Black Lagoon, but it looks like him and Dan Waters are doing co-writing credits on that. I just want to make sure we're not selling anybody short on that.
They must have a great relationship because Dan Waters does the backups for all the detectives.
Yep.
And those are backups that you don't want to skip. Those are very good, and they're contributing to the overall
story.
They're
keeping the band back together.
Keeping the
band together. And Creature from the Black Lagoon looks like it's another 1 of 4. I think they're doing these 1 of 4s, and they're leading to it's going to be like a shared universe, which I'm pumped about.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that Skybound can do it now because Energon is kicking ass.
Universal tried it a few years ago in theaters with probably the only Tom Cruise movie that I hate because I love Tom Cruise, but the Mummy was supposed to be the first, and it crashed. It was not good, and it looks like the Tynion and company are doing it right.
And that's a lead-in for my next book. I read Duke.
What did you think?
Dude, the pacing is awesome. I can't.
Same guy, Josh Williamson.
Josh Williamson.
So he must get done with the Green Arrow script and is like, let's keep going, and does Duke.
Pounds a Red Bull and starts writing
Woo!
Duke. So Duke, speaking of putting the band together or putting them back together, like Duke is starting to form. They're adding pieces of this G.I. Joe lore. And this one, it's not really a spoiler because she's on the cover, but this is where Baroness shows up.
Baroness.
And Duke's in some trouble. Baroness is in some trouble. Some stuff happens in this issue, but she's Baroness.
And
it's awesome.
Man. And
it's
by the end,
fantastic.
it busts wide open. It was great. Speaking of busting wide open, Phantom Road 9 does something this issue like. Man, I really like this series so far, but the first 8 issues were like lulling me, not to sleep, into okay, I think I know what this is, blah, blah, blah. Number 9 just goes bonkers. If you guys aren't reading Phantom Road, the trade is out. I really suggest you give the first 6. It's not heavy on dialogue. You can get through it very quickly, and the story is weird and creepy, and then this issue right here just becomes a Dario Argento movie.
Jeff Lemire.
Jeff Lemire.
There you go.
One of the best creators ever, in my opinion. Speaking of Jeff Lemire, Bone Earth Mythos continues. Tenement number 9 with Andrea Sorrentino, one of the best pairings. That's the Scorsese De Niro of comics, is what that is. Again, very weird, and that ends at number 10. I did not realize that. So
how many books are we into in that Universe? I mean, is Bone Orchard?
this is the 3rd series.
Yeah.
So, it's all. I don't know if it's all supposed to culminate somehow, or if he's just the Bone Orchard just gonna be weird stuff that happens.
Sure.
And if anybody's not read his Gideon Falls, this guy can do horror, man.
Yeah, it's great.
He does great. But speaking of horror, is Ice Cream Man 38. It's another single. It's a bottle. What's it called? A bottle issue where everything's in it. It's self-contained, and it will just leave you devastated by the end. I don't know how he comes up with this every month. I really don't. And Maxwell Prince must be going through it, but he's helping us through it too. And the last book I read from Image is New Burn number 15. This is the penultimate issue. He's only got one more to go, and I really hope that he pulls off what I think he's trying to do. Because right now you think New Burn, you think he's sold out everybody, including his own partner and his own instincts and his own beliefs, and I think he might be fooling everybody. And I think it's going to be one of those Kaiser Soze, the end of Usual Suspects, where he just straightens out, walks away, having pulled off everything. And if anybody could do it, it's Chip.
That's cool.
I mean,
it's awesome.
Oh no, World Tree.
Okay.
So this is interesting because World Tree did the same thing. These are all these books couldn't have been planned out that way, but World Tree's this new issue also opens everything up, like turns everything on its sideways, and now you can kind of start to see what this is all about. And this issue, you can definitely see like, okay, there's probably gonna be 75 of these.
Sure.
Like he playing, like, okay, we are just getting started, and I am just now seeing what you're gonna do. I thought that was all out of the way, and in this one right here, issue 8, it's like, oh, this is the plot
for
the series going forward. I thought I knew the plot.
Right.
It was awesome. Tinion's having a good
that's awesome.
good time. Yeah.
You want to move? We can move over to.
You said you read
Dynamite. I read Tigra,
which I didn't get to, and I love that Dan Panosian cover was beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful cover. The interior art beautiful as well.
If you read Fire and Ice,
yes,
you'll know that
Bill Willingham is still right. He wrote the one shot as well for Tigra. So now we've got Fire and Ice 1, 2, and we've got Tigra 3 comes out I think next month. This honestly, when 1 came out, I was completely surprised. Like I loved the fantasy elements, but the art was insane.
Oh my gosh!
Bill can write a book. It's fantastic. I mean, so Tigra is, it's a lot of fun. I mean, in a lot of ways, like
is it sexy?
Very. I was gonna say. I mean, it's teenage boys will love it. People old enough to have remember Fire and Ice as far as the the
arcade comics After Dark.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was just talking about that because I always forget that Ralph Bakshi movie Fire and Ice exists. I think it's because it's not one of his better ones. Oh, Rick, do you like it?
No, I wasn't going to comment on that. I was going to comment on how Rubenesque Tigra is.
She is quite Rubenesque. But if you're listening at home and you want to watch a Ralph Bakshi movie, do Lord of the Rings or Cool World anyway. But yeah, the art was just...
It's great.
God.
It's a fun book.
Dynamite spinning on art and
I will say that
now.
Dynamite is... Thundercats has been selling. It was great so far.
They got a writer. I've always been a Dynamite fan. Absolutely. But I knew exactly what they were doing. And now it's like they're taking care of these characters and making them into real... like books, with real quality stories. Did you ever read Project Superpowers, where they get all the Golden Age characters, that are in public domain, and
it's cool.
Yeah, it is awesome. But then, like recently, in the last few years, they had a Red Sonja and Vampirella
too. Yeah,
and Superpowers. So then I got to see like Red Sonja and Green Llama talking.
Yep.
Oh, it was a dream come true.
It's cool.
Who has an original issue of Green Llama from?
No, it is not the original. No, I think it's like number 5 though, with a beautiful Macroboy cover. Oh, where he's throwing a giant stone swastika at a Luftwaffe.
It's awesome.
It's great.
It's cool. Cool book.
That's how we won World War II. Look it up.
Yeah.
Don't just read comics. Got to read history books. We threw giant stone swastikas tasted their own medicine.
I'm going to bring something else up because I started this week trying to read. I had just found out about this. I kind of went back on a Greek mythology kick. I love Greek mythology.
Yeah, we're going to get into some Greek mythology today.
Yes. So I was going down the YouTube rabbit hole, just watching videos and stuff, and then thinking about the Odyssey and all that. Anyway, long story short, I did not know that Matt Fraction and Christian Ward did a book for Image called Odyssey. It's ODY-C. It's like a science fiction / old school God's book.
Yeah.
I started to read that. I kind of talked to you. I'm going to say, I don't know if this is a popular opinion or not, but like the Christian Ward color palette is hard for me to read. So
Yeah,
I
dig it, and that's not your thing.
It's not my cup of tea. Like the contrast for me makes me feel like I'm going to seize, but some people like love it, and I get that. But
I thought it was a weird choice for Greek.
But I started reading that, and we're going to get. I haven't said I haven't done enough to get an opinion on how it's written. It is a little much of a. I told you at the beginning. It's not a quick, easy read because it's written in a like poemy, wordy style. So it's going to take me some time, but just letting people know if you guys are
like the Odyssey.
interested in that, right? That stuff's out there and it exists, so it's pretty cool.
I'm gonna this a little bit here. I read the Iliad a couple years ago, and I have to say, if anybody's ever seen the movie Troy, they take out all the gods, sure, the physical gods in the movie Troy by Wolfgang Petersen with Brad Pitt, but that is a pretty faithful adaptation of the Iliad. I said it. I'll take all comers. I thought it was great. Written by David Benioff, who I think everybody
Famously screwed up.
once he didn't have the template anymore,
Yeah.
and had to write his own.
Yep.
But
We're talking about Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, folks.
Yeah.
Read those books. Those are terrific books.
They are fantastic.
Man.
I'm gonna move on to Marvel.
Yes. Oh, the book of the week.
I read Dead X-Men -- I'm going to keep with Dead X-Men.
Okay.
Because the premise is fun. So last time we discussed it, there's this team that they're going back in time and space and things like that to find a specific Moira Taggart, which
Such a cool idea.
it's crazy because the one that they found, it's above and beyond that even, because there's one that's like, she's basically crazy and she's like part machine, and they have to find a very specific one that hasn't been like made a certain percentage of machine yet. Like there has to be enough like person there. Because now she's just a rage murder monster, basically, they're going through. And they keep putting themselves in all these crazy situations. And just, I like the team, like Dazzler's there and Cannonball. And so they go to this.
Some of the best.
They go to DC where they think they're expecting one thing, and there are no Sentinels because she successfully killed off Trask. But somebody else just did it instead. And what's there is they're Sentinel-sized Ultrons.
Oh.
And it's awesome. Like, I mean, it's a fun book. Like, I'm not saying
awesome.
it's not life-changing.
Who's writing that?
Let me see here. I'd have to look that up real quick. I'm just reading it and having fun. No, you're good. I'll just.
They have so many. There's such a wild array of titles.
Steve Fox is writing it,
Fox.
and then
FOXE?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then the art is Bernard Chang and Peter Wynn. Yep, and Guillermo Santa. It's good. I mean, I've enjoyed it very, very much. So, if you just want a fun X-Men book where as long as you know who the hell Moira is, you can read this.
You have to read 14 other times.
Yeah, you could just read this and have a good time. So it's Frenzy, Prodigy, Jubilee, Dazzler, Cannonball, and Ascani. That's who's in the book. And, it's been fun.
I'll stick. I do love me some Dazzler and some Cannonball. He is nigh invulnerable when he's blasting. We were just talking about Cannonball, Rick.
We sure were.
All right. Does that take us to the book of the week?
I think it does.
Okay.
The aforementioned on previous podcasts, Avengers Twilight #3.
Yep.
By Chip Zdarsky, and who's the art? Bernal?
No, this is Acuna, right?
Oh, Daniel Acuna. Yeah.
Yep, Daniel Acuna.
And it's fantastic.
It's
It
crazy.
looks terrific. But this was
This looks like a story that was written 3 years ago, but took that long to finish the art.
That's almost could it be? And this is the one. This has so many great moments, so many touching moments. It gets Cap's spirit. It gets his fighting spirit. It gets what he stands for.
Yep. I mean, as far as we'll just flat out say it. Like you said, basically, like if Brevoort had not said that and set some expectation,
Yeah.
and if Tom King wasn't currently writing Wonder Woman, you would say
This would have knocked. I would have been in
blown away.
Blown away. As it was a great issue of a great series.
It is fantastic.
Don't get me wrong, it's better than any other comic written this week. It is
Sure.
the book of the week. But yeah, Tom Brevoort does not dole out compliments. He said this was one of the best that he'd ever read. But it was a great script. And I'll just say at the end of the book, I won't give anything away, but Cap does pray when he's against the ropes and he prays. And who do you pray to but the gods?
It's awesome.
Boy, oh boy. But yeah, this book really brought the thunder.
It sure did.
It was a great book. Chip,
good.
I know Chip listens, and I just want to say you've done you knocked another one out, buddy.
We'll see you in April, buddy.
We will see you in April. And speaking of which, we got some more announcements for Chicago. C2E2 that Craig and I will be going to. Tony S. Daniel.
Yep.
Tony Fleeks.
Yep.
Zerdy.
Yep.
Patrick Horvath.
Nice.
Yep. Announced today. So bring your Beneath the Trees, buddy.
That is awesome.
We're going to ask him if he's ever killed a man because he sure seems to know from where he speaks.
And gotten away with it.
And if anybody would know.
Fantastic. But that's not even.
No, we're working up. Merca and Dolfo is coming.
There we go.
I'm going to bring my copy of Mercy. Mark Brooks.
Hell yeah.
Jay Lee.
And
then Chrissy Zulo. But the big one, folks, Frank Cho. Is going to be 3.5 hours away from us.
Absolutely. So now the cash we have to show up with moved from 10 grand to about 100 grand.
It has tripled. Yeah, easily. I was, because, Villalobos is my favorite current artist, but once Frank Cho is there, it's like, well, I like Frank Cho better. I have to get all your prints. I just want to high five Frank Cho.
Dude.
Have him, sign my chest. It's gonna.
I want to see if he's got just like ink all over his hands from busted pens.
Oh my gosh, what that guy can do, a ballpoint, a big pen in his hand is like a magic wand.
It's nuts.
He can spin straw to gold.
He's a very nice guy. I've met him before.
You've met Frank Cho?
Wow, very nice guy.
He seems super
down to earth.
Hilarious, yeah.
He's a very social, Frank Cho's social media is exactly what I want out of it. It shows him working, it shows him talking about working and things like that kind of content is why I follow.
The only time I didn't like was when he went to it was last year. He was in Venice for a Comic-Con, and he kept posting from museums and the lakes and the villas that he was attending with his family, and it was all very nice. But it's like, dang it, I want to see your art. But it was like, oh, good for you to have a great time.
But at least he does some of that.
No, yeah. But it's always the art. It's always the process.
No politics. Usually, anything like that.
It's not even I told you, the one that, and I'll just say it. Johnny Cates would just post him painting his nails black and stupid shit.
That's why I had to quit following Tinian. I told you.
Yeah.
Or mute him. I love your books, Tinian, but I don't care about your post gym, your post workout.
Right, and I know. On the one hand, it's not even who they are. Those aren't my posts anyway. It doesn't matter if it was my brother doing it. I'm like, yeah, bro, I know. Yeah, beat me up. I get it. So
it's like back in the day when people on Facebook would post new shirt. I don't care. Nobody cares.
I think we're so into the medium.
That's
the
things
creators and stuff. We want to know.
Be a machine.
Right. Yeah.
Do you think Peach Momoko has a personal life? She does not.
Right. She just draws, right?
She just draws. She better be drawing right now. Yeah. So, and speaking of that, we've got Ultimate X-Men #1 coming out this week.
Yep. And this is actually the first time I haven't had a chance to.
I've not had a chance to read it.
Things were hopping. We had to get on the podcast in order to get it done, and we haven't had a chance to read it yet. So next week we'll just bring
It's your upcoming anniversary.
For tomorrow's celebration.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. So tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary. We have a big store-wide sale. We're gonna have cake. We're gonna have donuts. We're gonna have, I'm sure, incredible conversation. It's going to be
circus animals.
I'll be here with bells on. Circus. There are going to be a few circus animals. There are going to be a few circus performers.
The vibe is just going to be out of this world.
Yeah,
I am excited.
We're going to have a couple of the Muppets. Not the big ones, but a couple. I think Skeeter's going to be here.
That's great. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that he actually.
No, he replied. He replied today. So that's fine.
That's great.
He's gonna fly. And then I don't know if Beaker is coming in or not. All he said in his email was beep 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 beep. So could have been a yes, could have been a no. But it's gonna be great. And also on that Ultimate X-Men book, yeah, I've not read it, but based on Spider-Man and Black Panther, I'm guessing it's gonna be real good.
Yeah,
that's my goal. But anybody listen, remember that this is leading into the Ultimates, which is coming out in May?
The first week of June now.
First week of June, so Pre-order it. Don't miss out because, man, these books are hard to keep in stock.
Yep. Absolutely.
Gosh.
Thank you for actually plugging that. I would appreciate it.
Marvel, they need my help to drum up their business. It's sad.
It's getting harder and harder to order these books because I have no idea how to estimate the demand.
Yeah, because Ultimate X-Men #1 is gone already, right?
Yep.
Everything's so.
Well, but this time,
how did Spider-Man do?
Announced a fourth print.
Man, fourth print of a
fourth print. So they announced a fourth print, but at least that one was afterward. Do you know?
I was setting you up, of course.
Ultimate X-Men #1 had a second print. I had to order 2 or 3 weeks before the first issue even hit the stand.
Crazy.
It was already at second print. So, RB Silva's making some cash on those second print covers. He's done all of them so far.
You got to if Marvel would have thought of this in the '90s, they wouldn't have had to sell off Spider-Man to Sony.
Yeah.
Keep the lights on. They're
just do Ultimate Spider-Man. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Spider-Man.
Do the Ultimate Universe.
Man, they're making
Sony's doing the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ribeye money.
Ultimate Madam Web.
Rick, you saw Madam Web. What were your thoughts?
I loved it.
There you have it.
Apparently, it's the unpopular opinion around here, but I thought it was fantastic. I thought the acting was great. The action was great. The mood was great. It was everything I was looking for in a superhero movie, and I'm a DC guy.
Hey.
I haven't seen it.
In fact, it reminded me of Birds of Prey.
I'm a Sydney Sweeney guy.
Yeah, she's on SNL, I think, this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Cool.
Hopefully they do a Please Don't Destroy. It's the best part of the show.
She has a new film coming out too, by the way, like the 13th or whatever that week.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So it's on my. So after I have to, Marvel asked me to plug Ultimates for them, and Sydney Sweeney's people did ask me to. What was that movie? Because they want me to.
It's right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it.
Oh, okay, because we have to come up by the end of it, or else, yeah.
Well, we just lost a sponsor.
Oh man,
great.
It's fine. Yeah, this show, it's expensive, folks. It is. It's,
you wouldn't believe.
It is.
Basically, just go see anything she's in.
That's. I mean, you can
be good.
do that as well. That's Absolutely.
So anyway, I mean,
you want to move on?
Yeah. Do you want to get to the
Wonder Gals?
Of it, the wonder of it all.
Let's do that.
And I guess we can start at the beginning, as it were, because we're celebrating Wonder Woman lately. Oh, hey, you know what? It's March 1st. It's the beginning of Women's History Month. This was all planned out.
Yep, it was planned out. Honestly, it was planned out.
Yeah, no, I gotta call my mom, make sure she did my laundry. So but we're gonna start the first of the Wonder Girls. There are 3 canonical Wonder Girls that we're acknowledging.
Sure, for our purposes.
That I consider 2 anyway. The first being Donna Troy, the second Cassie Sandsmark, and the third Yara Flor. But Donna Troy is first, and Donna Troy has a famously convoluted / completely messed up.
It's a mess.
Origin story that still to this day I don't think has been. I don't think it's explained right now, and it's been reset and retconned so many times. Rick,
it made no sense when it was happening, but it was a lot of fun. And to be honest, it starts with Wonder Woman in a flashback adventure as a young woman, and she was the Wonder Girl. She looked exactly like what we've come to think of as young Donna Troy. And she had several adventures, and they were so popular, and the series was kind of fluctuating in sales, that they just kept bringing those stories back because that's what the fans seemed to want. Those are the ones that sold well.
And
it seems like back then they had, whenever they were failing, they just made a character but younger, and then the readership took off again.
Yeah.
To make it more relatable, I guess, probably.
My understanding is that in the old days when I was reading comics, the management and the writers thought that the comic fandom turned over every 5 years. So it didn't matter about continuity because they could just change it again in 5 years. And as I got older, I noticed, like maybe in the late 60s, early 70s, they started thinking it was a 10-year turnover.
Sure.
And then now we realize there is no turnover.
It's a 90-year turnover.
Quantify that anyway.
Continuity should go on forever. But in the old days, they kept changing things.
I think it's something they're still doing. I mean, that's why we get Connor Hawke in the 90s instead of Green Arrow. Why we get all these younger. Go. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just wanting to jump in because I'm excited about it. So this is a very strange story, and I just want to try and get it out there for those who didn't read those stories. This would have been like from somewhere between 1958 and 1968.
Her first appearance officially was Brave and the Bold 60 in 1965. So you were there. You got it.
in the Wonder Woman comic, which Robert Kanigher was writing,
that you're talking about.
this would have maybe been a weird lead up or preface to that, because after the Wonder Woman as a young woman adventures, like Wonder Woman would have 3 stories in a book or 2 stories in a book.
Right.
Sure.
And one of them would be a young Wonder Woman because that was selling well and it'd make a great cover, and the others would be Diana and Steve Trevor, as
Sure.
we're used to. But after a few of those had, been out there and caught attention, they decided they would try and figure out a way to do something with even Wonder Woman as a young tot. They called her Wonder Tot.
Yes.
And they had Wonder Girl and Wonder Woman, and they would all team up and have an adventure. And the way that they did this was a bizarre 50s only kind of sci-fi idea that makes no sense. But the Amazons had a clubhouse.
Yes.
And in the clubhouse, they had scrapbooks that were kind of a pseudoscience electronic scrapbook. They had images of the Amazons throughout their history. And there was a way with their highly evolved science, magical science, I would say,
Sure.
because it made no sense, they could take, with a certain camera, take images from these scrapbooks
And turn them
and
real.
turn them into real
Yeah.
beings.
That's
That's a great idea,
And that's
though.
that's the first Donna, right?
That's the first one, yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And she was so popular that they kept bringing her back. And
Oh wait, you said it was unrealistic. I don't know what you're
well,
talking.
they were actually matching sound from the old images, and that's how they made
That's
her
science,
speak.
Rick. That's science.
It was crazy. And she had a boyfriend named Rondo who was a merman or merboy, and he had a crush on her, and she would meet him down by the shore because Paradise Island.
Yeah.
Back then it was in the Bermuda Triangle. Paradise Island was.
Yeah.
And they. She would be on the shore and see this merboy, and he couldn't come to Paradise Island, but she could go out and among the reefs or whatever, and other islands. And,
Young love.
They would, romance, and they would always run into, semi-sized spiders or, rocks, flying birds that could
Dating's hard.
carry them away.
Dating's hard.
There were a lot of giants and unnaturally huge fauna, and
Yeah.
so that was where the excitement came from Wonder Girl and those early Wonder Woman issues.
So you liked those though? They were good.
You know what? It was so much fun. It's very simple. It's a child's story. When I go back and read them now, they're so absurd. I can hardly believe I ever read them and enjoyed
Some
them.
of that 50s absurdity is a lot of fun though, because they were earnest.
They were very
it was an earnest absurdity,
and they were trying to entertain you, and you felt that coming through.
Yeah.
I mean, what's cooler than seeing Wonder Girl snatched out of the sky by a giant bird and flying off, and this merboy is trying to paddle behind her and catch her, and he has to find her in a cave somewhere where the bird has dropped her, and they find a way to rescue her. Those kinds of stories were very adventurous and exciting for a young man
That sounds awesome.
or a young woman. I presume they were written for women, probably.
I
but-
think, and I appreciate the stories that do that now because I think, since Watchmen and stuff like that, where you start, I appreciate gritty. Don't get me wrong. Like I grew up with that, and that's kind of changed things. But like, as far as like the whimsical, like
That's what I was saying. This
craziness.
Power Girl 6 is that.
Yeah.
It is absolutely that. Like
That's awesome.
You want to have this kooky adventure? Like you can either say it's silly, or you can shut the fuck up and realize how awesome it is.
Right, yeah.
And that's what all those 50s comics are. But no. So go on.
Well, I was feeling like one of the things I noticed was right when I first started reading it, it was right when Kanigher took over. And
Robert Kanigher, for those following.
he's the DC's most prolific writer there's ever been, ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 2,000.
You see his name on all. Yeah.
stories, 30,000 pages of writing that he did. The only person that even comes close to him is Gardner Fox, and he wrote slightly more than half.
Wow.
So he's not even really close.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we all
I wonder
know
what Roy
Gardner Fox.
Thomas's numbers are in Marvel, though.
I only know DC's.
Yeah.
Because that's more where I
Yeah.
grew up. Back, when I was reading, of course, there wasn't a Marvel right away. I mean,
Sure.
not in the conventional sense,
Right.
superhero stories.
Still Atlas, man.
So we had horror and we had the romance and we had, sci-fi, but we didn't have superheroes for a while there. So DC took all my attention, and that was stand out to me. Robert Kanigher, he created Sergeant Rock, the Haunted Tank, Unknown Soldier, a couple others, in the war category, and then he wrote the first issue of the Silver Age Flash.
Yeah. Oh no, he did all those Sergeant Rock and all those comics for.
He
so
was the
long.
editor
military-
and writer
Yeah, for
of
all
most of those characters.
Huge, yeah.
But so he came on Wonder Woman, and she had been kind of floundering because the art was archaic. Peters had gotten quite old, and his style was out of fashion. and Marston was near death.
Yeah.
And so when Kanigher came on, he had this woman who was an ideal of feminine power, and it wasn't selling. And he got Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito, who had been drawing Sergeant Rock and the military comics, to come over with him. And they put her in action scenarios and sci-fi. And you know how in Our Army at War or the Star Spangled War stories, they would have like pterodactyls on a lost island come and attack the U.S. military.
That sounds like Paradise Island.
Yeah, it was showing up at Paradise Island just the same. And it was just perfect for what those artists were talented for. You know, they knew how to draw these action poses and these gigantic creatures and all these different exciting scenarios. And one woman went from being a powerful woman to being more of a, this is a girl's life. These are the things a girl can go through. And that's where the romantic element started coming, because we all know DC's romance books sold like hotcakes. So if Wonder Woman could have that element, they thought maybe it'd boost the sales.
Sure.
So you had the action, the Ray Harryhausen kind of sci-fi monster action. You had the romance and the love story that
really
seemed to draw
Teen
maybe
Vogue of its day.
women and men in, or boys and girls in.
When she's not fighting pterodactyl, she's out with Steve.
She was actually trying to put him off, and he was they went from her being Superman and him being Lois Lane to more of him being in charge and trying to push her into marriage, and her trying to come up with excuses to not be married. Now, this is not Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
But, Wonder. So the book really took a turn, and that's why I think these Wonder Girl stories were such a fresh, exciting, interesting thing. We were already really kind of not interested in that as boys.
Right.
Yeah, man. 65, we're on the cusp of a social revolution. But it's these comics that you're talking about. So when it was Bob Haney, co-creator of Metamorpho, by the way, everybody, with last week's, as we mentioned, Ramona Fraden, he was putting together, they were going to do a Teen Titans book with all the sidekicks were going to team up for the first time. And he was going to, Batman had Robin, Superboy, which was not part of the original team, I know, but Speedy, Kid Flash. It was Kid Flash.
First, it was just Aqualad, Robin, and Kid Flash.
And then Aqualad. It's like, oh, does Wonder Woman have a sidekick? And so he was looking through these comics that were out, and it was these comics with these younger iterations of Wonder Woman. He thought that was a sidekick. And
it was a magical picture.
And that's why you got, and he put her in as Donna Troy, not realizing that she doesn't exist. You put someone in there that actually isn't there, and called her Donna Troy, and then
but Nick drew her exactly like Ross had been drawing her.
I mean, she was
looked perfect,
and she was
the
great.
ponytail. I mean, it's iconic.
That was Brave and the Bold 60, then Teen Titans Showcase number 59, and then that spun off into its own book, 1966.
One of the interesting things, though, for a fan, as someone who had been following Wonder Woman all his young life, to then see Donna Troy show up in the Titans, and it was great. She was very interesting, and they wrote the book very well. The early Titans books are very fun and interesting.
So you do like the early Titans?
It got silly pretty quick.
That's what I thought. Okay.
The bad adult trying to write teen dialogue.
Yeah.
It's awful. But the early issues are very exciting. And the only thing that stood out to me is that Wonder Girl's magic lasso wasn't a magic lasso. It just looked like a black lariat that was not breakable.
That's just a rope.
So they finally had to get that, worked out. That they didn't take that icon from Wonder Woman over to Wonder Girl.
I see. No, I mean,
she used it all the time, but it just didn't seem to have magical properties.
I wasn't reading.
It wasn't a lasso of truth, but it was unbreakable.
It was just a lasso. Now I read it. I'd say from about 75 to 79 when they introduced I love Bumblebee. You do not. and then the book's done. Marv Wolfman was writing it though, and Marv Wolfman gave her a different origin story. I think she was like an orphan.
A burning building.
And rescued from a fire. Yeah. And then like
that was a great story actually.
No, it was Marv Wolfman, and then Marv Wolfman reboots the series, his own series, as the New Teen Titans. And now she's a charter member of the New Teen Titans, and like
so beautiful.
And she had that iconic. I think the first one was the red with the yellow, right?
Yeah.
Yellow stars. She was always dating that guy, Terry Long. Do you remember that? She was a professor who was like a few years older than her, and later on, I think that ended as horribly as anybody who's ever dated anybody else in comics can. I mean, like, we're not here for solid relationships. But again, she was for 10 years. This Wolfman Perez run, again, one of the best comics runs ever.
All time.
And she is just an intricate part. She's every bit Robin's equal. Her relationship with Starfire and Raven is terrific.
I was buying Titans for Donna Troy.
She was also like so mature. She seemed so much more mature than the rest of them because Garth was very much a kid. Cyborg was too angry. And like
She looked real to me.
Well, and then here's the thing though, when you read those comics, like, she's the one that she didn't hang out at Teen Titans Tower. She was like, oh well, me and Terry have a date tonight, or I'm going to she had another grown up life, and it was like impossibly grown up compared to Beast Boy just want to play video games or something.
I thought those were fantastic stories.
Yeah.
I was totally in on that. And I collected that more than, and I concentrated on that more than any part of my collection at that time.
Covers were great. They just popped, and he just balanced. Him and Perez were just striking gold. And then in 85, the Crisis on Infinite Earths happens, and that has to reset everything in the Marvel universe and the DC universe. But New Teen Titans did not stop. Like Superman restarted with Man of Steel, Batman restarted, Wonder Woman restarted, but New Teen Titans kept going. They retconned their origin stories once again, because now Donna Troy, which is interestingly though, when they collapse all the universes into one, Donna Troy is one of the few characters that still remembers all the other Donna Troys.
Yep.
Which was very weird.
Yep.
And then this is they ended up making she becomes Troya, and she finds out that she is a part of a group of people that Rhea, the Titan, the Greek Titan Rhea, planted throughout the universe to become eventual saviors of the world, and they were all named after Greek cities.
Yep.
But it was cool because they didn't think of that one.
Right.
Don't tell me Bob Haney thought of that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those wonderful
Going
cool
back and
things that
looking
works
okay,
in
we could do
comics.
this.
Yeah.
She was kind of Wonder Woman's little sister in those early issues.
Well, eventually she became, I think, again, she was retconned several other times, and she eventually became related to Wonder Woman in continuity. And in the she did,
but also kind of isn't it always been kind of like they always, well, at least now, like all of the Wonder Woman and Wonder Girls are all related in the way that they all were chosen as Amazonians, right? Like,
that's a good idea.
So it's like a kind of like the Mandalorian thing, where it's like Mandalorian isn't like it's not like a planet like where you're from. It's like a cultural thing, right? Like in that way. At least with, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. At least with Yara. In all of the stuff they do now, it feels very much like, oh, this is all gods and Olympus, and all of that stuff is related, and it all ties into each other.
Yeah, it
Which
does.
I love that they leaned into that. I was going to say that's been my favorite thing about.
I think another thing Tom King's going to do is straighten all this out for us,
Right?
Like give us
Sure.
all a reason for all of it to be happening.
Sure.
No, Donna had a rough time of it in the '90s though. She got divorced, but she dated Kyle Rayner for a while in the '90s. I remember that.
You can't do much better.
I don't
than
remember.
that.
Oh god, that'd be great.
It's dangerous.
I know. I think the last time I read her though in the '90s until she came back in the 2000s was a 0 Hour, which I was like 95 or 96, and I just remember her house getting destroyed. She was living just quietly in Jersey or something like that.
Yep.
But it's a good thing because in 1996 we get our second Wonder Girl, and this one this was when I was growing up, so I thought she was a bigger deal than she was. Cassie Sandsmark, and a lot of people don't know who Cassie Sandsmark is, unless they've seen Young Justice, which she really shined there. But she came out in a Wonder Woman 105. She was written and drawn by John Byrne. So
She's the daughter of her friend, right?
yes, Helena Sandsmark, who ran I think a history museum, and that's how they knew each other. And she would bring Cassie to work, and when Cassie was bored, she would go and clean the exhibits, which I don't know if you guys know. So my dad used to work at a natural history museum. That's where all the kids, you bring them in and go play with the exhibits. Just go, here's
Go play with the exhibits.
Yeah. So she inevitably touched something that became a magical thing and imbued her with powers. Or no, not
Superman origin.
It didn't. No, she set something off. Something and then Wonder Woman had to save her. But anyway, and she was a complete and total fangirl for Wonder Woman and Donna Troy. And that's why she was always blonde, but she even put on a black wig
Yeah.
to be more like them. to look more like them.
Black Canary.
Black Canary.
There you go.
Although Canary is a badass from the beginning, but she started hanging out with
Also written by Robert Kanigher.
the Black Canaries. Those are good comics.
Yeah.
The Silver Age ones.
Yeah, Silver Age ones.
Yeah. But she hangs out with Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman gets in trouble, and Cassie goes to save her, and then it kind of works out, and she wants to be a superhero now. The way she saves her, so Wonder Woman gets in, it was probably some monster trying to destroy something, like monsters do. So Cassie goes to the museum, grabs a couple things to create her outfit, because she doesn't have powers. She grabs the sandals of Hermes, which will make you fleet of foot, I'm sure, and the Gauntlet of Atlas, and she goes and she saves Wonder Woman, and then Wonder Woman's like, you might have a future in this, kid, and she wants to fight, but Helena does not want her to be a superhero. She's like, that's dangerous. And then
Can we be real here?
Cassie's like, I don't want your life, Mom.
Can we be real here for a second?
Please.
This is exactly when I dropped that character.
Man. Well, I think if not for Young Justice.
But it was when you were starting, so it's different for you.
Yeah,
But for me, rolling into that,
And
you
gave up
my stomach
Donna,
turned
right,
when
yeah.
that happened.
it was 1996. And I don't know, if you guys weren't alive, you don't know. But if you were, 1996 was better than this year. 1996 was awesome.
It was awesome.
1996 just ruled. All right. Odelay by Beck came out.
Yeah.
That one REM, that their last really good album came out.
Yep.
All Eyes on Me came out, guys, from Tupac, and so did Machiavelli, which I think is a stronger album. But a case can be made for either one. But
Well, I'm
I think
feeling old.
if it weren't for
So am I.
well,
Yeah.
no, Rick off air. Rick won't be quiet about his favorite Tupac albums. He says "Me Against the World," and I'm with him on that. I mean, it was his most mature album to date.
I mean, it's a good choice.
It is. But I don't think if it weren't for Young Justice, the comic, and then the show, she probably would have been lost a little bit more.
Those shows have always done the work on that.
Man,
I feel like
that one
they
was
did that
so-
for Cassie, and then Justice League did it for, I feel.
And that one was coming
so
right,
for-
yeah, because it was coming right out, Batman, Superman, and then Batman Beyond.
Yep.
And then now we have this great Young Justice series and the great Justice.
Well, that was a big deal when that was one of the first announcements. Remember within the last few years when they did the DC universe where it was all tied together, like the app and then the shows.
Yeah.
So one of those shows was Young Justice coming back. It was massive.
Yes.
People loved Young Justice.
No, it was great. And the series was by Peter David.
Yep.
You can't beat that.
He was great. And Todd Knock, who is still doing, he just did the Justice Society.
I think he's going to be at C2E2 as well.
Oh God, I would love that because,
so.
and the thing about it,
I'd have to look. But
she was dangerously close to being just another Courtney Whitmore, Stargirl.
Yeah.
And then, well, they were so
you love
similar.
Stargirl though.
I love
I love Stargirl, but that's the thing is they had to do some work to set them apart because they were both very young, blondes, spunky, weren't
Stargirl's cool.
not born with powers. Young Justice, that was the team. Had Arrowette on it, Secret, Impulse, Superboy. Don't call me Superboy.
Hey, Superboy.
Robin and Teen Lantern, which you got to admit that's cool. And then her and Superboy. She'd always had a crush on Superboy. And think about that, you fangirl over Wonder Woman, then you get to become Wonder Girl. You grow up with a crush on Superboy, and now you get to meet him. And it is Connor Kent. And then I don't know spoilers though for Infinite Crisis, but Superboy dies, and boy does it go south for everybody.
Womp womp.
Yeah, but then she gets mixed up with the wrong people. She starts listening to loud rap music and just doing the wrong thing. She ended up I don't know if she started or joined a cult of Connor. And it was bad times. But no, she's been her
Infinite Crisis was wild.
It was wild, yo.
It was wild.
And Final Crisis made it look normal.
That's very true.
Yeah, Grant
Very
Morrison's
true.
off on one, but it's all good. But then I don't know when she got powers from Zeus. That's the thing. So in that first stuff though, after she had fought and after she had argued with her mom, she went and found Zeus and said, "I want to be a superhero." And Zeus was like, "You know what, kid? I like the cut of your jib." Big on nautical terms, Zeus.
Sure wasn't Poseidon.
and he gave her powers. Yeah, and he gave her powers. And then now I think I don't know if it was pre New 52 or post New 52. She's like the granddaughter of Zeus now. which makes her Wonder Woman's niece if you're doing the Cliff Chang, Brian Azzarello continuity. This is hard, guys. It's like the continuity is so wild and so like all over the place. And now I don't know. New 52, she was there, but I don't know what really she did. Because she was there at the beginning of New 52 because Donna Troy was not initially. Donna Troy didn't come in New 52 until later. And then with DC, you guys know I love it, but if you don't like what they're doing, just wait a few years. They're going to do a relaunch.
Right. Yeah.
Because then Rebirth happened, and I think they retconned Cassie again. But Cassie also, she got her because Donna Troy found her when she first got her powers from Zeus, and she was like, you know what? I don't know what I'm kind of lost. I'm kind of adrift, but you are gonna make a good Wonder Girl. And Donna gives her original red and yellow outfit, and she says, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But she does model her outfit after Donna, and it was really sweet, you know. And then Donna eventually came back, and now you know Donna's Wonder Girl, Cassie's Wonder Girl. There's room for all these Wonder Gals.
It's very true.
But yeah, also Cassie had that great like 2000s era style with like that tight black sleeveless shirt and that like the red.
Yep.
I just remember girls dressing like
the costume's wild. I love it.
But it is, and she still has kind of like a take on that same outfit.
Well, and you've talked about this too, and I want to mention it. Like Donna was always like beautiful, like
Yes.
modeled after like Wonder Woman.
And she had toes.
And Cassie was just like spunky and cute, which was cool. Like it was neat in the way that it didn't distract.
And Cassie was a kid.
Yes.
She was a kid. Yeah.
But I mean, now I'm saying like now we've kind of grown up. I mean, I know I'm skipping ahead, but she's not like
Even now she is still that
she's just cute. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, she's not like
you're
drawn
not
the same way.
Nope.
So it was like kind of always.
And also, Cassie knows, and she's alluded to this and several times, but she knows like of the three, she is like the least remembered, the least powered. But she doesn't have that Jason Todd chip on her shoulder.
Right.
She's like, that's fine. I'm glad to be part of the team.
Right.
I'm just loving the ride.
How did this would have happened if I wasn't playing around in the exhibits?
I don't know why they even let us clean those. You figured they'd have professionals for that. Also, and I don't want to sleep on, but that Young Justice did lead into a Jeff Johns run on the Teen Titans, and that's a classic. God, it's so good. So many more things. And I don't want to jump around. I do love Cassie, guys. I really do, but it pales in comparison.
We have
to my favorite Wonder Girl, and the one whose origin story is fucking fine.
Yep.
They just nailed it right out of the park because I mean, who was that creator?
That would be one Joelle Jones.
And this is our most recent Wonder Girl.
Recent.
This is January 2021.
It is.
She wasn't even there for COVID.
She was not.
That is but this is Yara Floor.
Well, right. Well, it was part COVID because her true first appearance was Future State, which was like still in that weird spot, right? So
Infinite Frontier. Oh no, Future State. Part of Infinite
because there's
Frontier.
Future State, Wonder Woman 1 and 2.
Yes.
Her first appearance is Wonder Woman 1, and the Future State stuff was fun. So it kind of worked backwards, and I like the way it worked because in Future State, she'd already been Wonder Girl for a while, and that's where she was fighting through, if I recall, the underground.
Yes.
The underworld, right? Doing all that. And there was like all the cool, like, I don't know. So it was like right off the bat, like.
Rick, are you there texting bitches?
Gorgeous, yeah. Gorgeous Joelle Jones art dealing with deep Greek mythology stuff. And like the costume, Yara's costume design, I will say, is one of my absolute favorites of all time. And you get there, like it's cool. I'm sorry, I'm going to get really excited about this too, but
Please do.
Gorgeous.
It was
Love
Steve
her
Ditko
sassiness.
level of like knocking it out on the first try.
Yeah, like, okay, we're done. Nobody else.
That's
needs
how
to do
that
it.
suit. That's correct.
Yeah, don't touch it. The tiara, like the color scheme, everything. But like, so you see it and it's in those issues. And then it starts over. Then it does the ongoing Wonder Girl after Future State Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
so
there are like 3 or 4 comics that like could be her first appearance. A lot of
Sure.
cameos, a lot of yeah.
But you don't even get to. So when you see the origin story, like in Wonder Girl 1, she doesn't even get that costume until like issue 6, I think, when she's walking through Mount Olympus. Like her
And
real.
we should say like
ahead, I'm sorry.
no. I was just gonna say like because she showed up fully formed in Death Metal 7, and so if you did not catch her or if you didn't get it, that's fine. Those make Final Crisis look like a Dr. Zeus book, man. Like
It just keeps getting like
gun to your head right now. You tell me the plot of Death Metal. You tell me. And they're fun. But yeah,
Death Metal. I'm gonna need help with this one. Is that the one where she's fighting Batman, Wonder Woman's?
That was Batman Who Laughs.
That Batman Who Laughs at the end of time.
Yes,
and all of that. Yep. And there's like the crazy.
They finally beat him.
Time fight. Yeah,
I thought that went on for longer than it actually did because I remember saying that I was
7
so
issues, right?
oversat. Yeah, but I saw the Batman Who Laughs everywhere. It was it was such a cool design. But it's like, all right, guys, relax.
And now you've ruined it.
And now, so we can't have nice things. But I'm sorry. Go.
Yes, no, I'm sorry.
But then she gets her own ongoing
for a short amount of time.
Too short. 7 issues, I think.
7 issues in an annual, but it's not like she stopped there, which I was grateful for because
all
it
written
led
and
into
drawn.
trial of
all written and
drawn
by Joelle Jones.
By Joelle Jones,
and she does not get enough credit for how great of a writer she is. She knows exactly what these characters need because her Catwoman, she only did the first like 12 or 15, and they are so good.
They're amazing.
They are so good. And then Lady Killer.
Lady Killer.
Like it's so because it's so much fun and so easy to read. I don't think people realize how hard what she's doing is. Like. Besides, not just that she's writing and drawing, but
I don't want to turn it into I'd totally be willing to turn it into a Joelle Jones show, but also I will say it again. The only female artist to have been on mainline Batman, and that's
it's just crazy.
It's just absolutely insane. And the benchmark again, she can draw a fucking horse. Joelle Jones,
she can draw a horse
quickly. Even I imagine
it's like 1920. They give women the vote, and they're like that, but they're never going to draw Batman. And
no, we've said it before then too. Like it's sad, yes, but like, I mean, it's not the other. There are women artists there are men, both men and women that can draw phenomenally well. But I think when you're talking about putting out a book monthly, that's a different style and that's a different way of having to draw it. So like
that's a job,
right? And it's a job. So if you look at Joelle Jones's work on. Like Lady Killers, I do feel like it's more detailed and fleshed out than what these Wonder Girl issues were, just because it's like amount of time that you have to work on it. And
then you got Dan Sampier, who's whipping out a Sistine Chapel ceiling every 30 days.
Everybody works in different ways. But I'm sorry. So, yes, it was impressive all the way around because she was released, and then what's the podcast name? Off Panel.
Yeah.
There was an interview on there, and she talked about her process. That was like the first time I actually heard her speak. That's one of my favorite episodes of his.
And her do you have a script over? Say, oh God, I wish I had all that.
You're right.
It's planned out. No, I just kind of just keep going with it and just hope it. And her instincts have to be so good.
Yes.
For the comics because the pacing is perfect in each of them. Yeah.
And I love, and I will say this, like in a bunch of books where I feel like they kind of moved away from female characters being sexy.
She's sexy.
I love that Yara is sexy and written and drawn by a woman because it feels like authentic. It feels authentic,
and it's
written
it's
like
great.
in a way,
she is Brazilian, and so she is an actual from the Amazon.
Yes,
it's a very cool thing. And they go in, and Joelle Jones was very conscious of going to the Amazonian,
she
the
visited
lore,
and did all kinds of
lore
stuff
of
did all the work.
Oh my gosh, it was great. She did give her Pegasus, which I don't think is an Amazonian lore. I could be wrong, but do you know what the Pegasus name is? Do you remember? I didn't remember. I had to look it up.
I don't remember.
But I do remember when
Jerry.
And it's like, yeah, of course.
That's awesome.
Jerry. Hey, Rick, you remember what the name of Wonder Woman's kangaroo?
I'm sorry, I don't remember that.
Jumpa.
Come on.
I was thinking back to all the good horse artists that there have been in comic
been a few. Joelle Jones,
Kurt Schaffenberger, and Jim Mooney.
Jim Mooney
are the last two that I can remember before Joelle.
Man, it's tough.
So it's been in a lot of decades there.
Admittedly, then I'm moving on from that. I was saying what I was trying to get to was a lot of the recent exposure. Like the cool thing that's happened recently is the Wonder Girls have basically been a team since that point. Mm-hmm. Like after that, it was. Attack of the Amazons, which was the event that led right into that.
Trial of the Amazons?
Trial of the Amazons. Trial of the Amazons.
Very good.
So, like, Nubia, Yara Flor, all the Amazons are taking part
Artemis.
in that.
Yeah. Artemis.
Yep, Artemis. And then they had the Olympus book, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Artemis had her own book, so they kind of played into that. And very much, like, even in Wonder Girl, Donna shows up.
Yeah.
Cassie shows up.
I love when Cassie shows up.
Right. So, like, I like now that they are pretty much inseparable, and that's only reinforced by this latest Wonder Woman run, which is why I think I'm digging it so much. It's kind of like this Tom King thing is like focusing more on Wonder Woman instead of the Wonder Girls, but it focuses on them and does the same character stuff that Joelle was doing in Wonder Girl. But
it's acknowledging that they are a part of Wonder Woman's story.
Yes,
they are, and a crucial part. And also he's giving us. I think he's like, sanding off the rough edges of the lore, like making it make a little bit more sense.
And I think it's more fun when you have them in the same story and you have them next to each other. It does an amazing job at differentiating their personalities and who and how they are.
And all of a sudden, they're so wildly disparate characters, and like the way that Wonder Woman has to deal with each one of them in a different way. Because you like Donna, you came from the '60s. You came from the '90s. You came from yesterday.
Yes.
But it's like, but you're all, it puts it all in like the correct context and makes it. You are all the Wonder Girls.
Like remember when she puts them through the trials?
Yes.
I know you remember, but I'm saying issue 5 was the trial part, right?
Yeah.
And Yara has like the physical, the warrior test, and then because they each get to choose,
right. And Cassie's
and Yara's
video games.
got that, Cassie's is playing video games, and Donna's was no, Donna was that was
Donna was the video
part.
games because she
What Cassie's was what I forget.
It was something like arm wrestling.
Yeah,
arm wrestling.
Arm wrestling. So it was just like.
Makes them so much more real. When
it's so good, and how down they are for it.
But I guess Yara also. I'm gonna keep going.
No,
I love her confidence. She is the new kid on the block, but she is like
never worried if she should be there or not. Yeah,
she loves. I don't know, and partly, and sadly, I started loving Wonder Woman more. Through Yara.
That's what the legacy characters are supposed to do. That's the best case scenario for an editorial, like if introducing a legacy character. And I will say, Monkey Prince and Yara Flor are far and away the greatest legacy characters of the last decade.
And then they got their time to shine.
And they got
Lazarus.
Oh, and they fought with each other, and it's like you guys. And Yara, both of them. Yara more though feels like she's always been there.
Yes.
When I saw 2021, I couldn't believe it. I was like 2018, 2019. Feels like she's always been there. And then when she is in this issue, Wonder Woman 6, when she's talking with Wonder Woman, Cassie, and Donna in the same room, it's like,
these are old friends.
Seem like you've always, always been here.
A lot of that is the writing, but I mean, the groundwork goes for a lot because I feel like I've always felt this way. Like Cassie's, you may feel that her origin and everything like that is stupid. You can fine, that's fine, but at least it makes sense. I've always felt disconnected from Donna just because I was like, what? It was weird.
Still unsettled.
And she's always portrayed, and I respect the maturity, but like even in the new Titans show that was on, that they released it, Donna's the grown up.
Yeah.
Like Donna,
she doesn't even hang out with him.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Dick's a grown up, but he's like a tortured soul.
He's still doing this with taking care of these kids.
Yeah.
Donna's like, I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. I'm sorry, I might have lost the point. You do not like that Donna was in the new origin.
I
was
do.
A rescued child that Wonder Woman saved and took and raised her on Paradise Island.
No, I'm fine with that. What I'm saying is it was. It's not clear cut like the others are. Like the fact that it started off like, it was.
Oh,
that's one of like
Woman
4 origin stories for Donna.
Because that's the latest one that they've stuck with. Mm-hmm. They've tried multiple times. You're just like, what? I give up. Whatever.
And then
She's
with
cute. I like her outfit.
Then with each relaunch, it changes slightly again.
Yeah.
But I think we do have to talk about Trinity.
We do.
We had strong feelings at first because I immediately thought that it was a new Wonder Girl, and I was like, nope.
Pissed.
I hate this. There's no we have the perfect Wonder Girl. Like, you nailed it. The third try is the charm.
Right.
But it turns she's
not a replacement.
She's not a replacement.
Wonder Girl.
She's not even
replacement for.
She's not even right now. She's 19 years in the future. She's not even right in DC right now. Trinity is Wonder Woman's daughter.
Yes.
Daughter. She's not a replacement for Wonder Girl. We don't quite know what.
We don't know anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, we know that she pals around with Damian and John, and that's about it.
They're raising their siblings essentially. Especially if you're reading the backups by Tom King and Belen Ortega. Damian and John have to babysit Lizzie while all their parents are off, fighting aliens. defending the world. But she's comes into her own because it keeps going. It keeps jumping. Like sometimes she's like 14, sometimes she's 19, sometimes she's 5 in these backups. And again, the whole Wonder Woman's being narrated by the Sovereign to Trinity.
Yes.
So, but Trinity, we don't know what her adventures of her own are going to be.
It's implied. We don't know for sure. I don't think it explicitly says that it is Trinity, but I think we both got.
But that's who we think he's talking to is Trinity.
Or maybe at some point he does say your mother or something. That's how we even got that. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he did.
I think so. So she first appeared in Wonder Woman 800.
Yes.
Like the ending, the issue right before Tom King took off, and I cannot even tell you, like it was mind blowing. So first of all, you don't see her at first. You see a Batman and you see Superman, and you're like, grown. And they are kick-ass.
Batman looked awesome.
Batman looked awesome.
Damon with the collar one?
Yes. Whew. Like a trench coat collar. Like, look, it was fantastic. And then it is Damian and John. And at that point, like in that one panel, they're just sitting there. They're waiting on Trinity. Like, it was very cool decision to do that. Like, they're waiting for, like, this is an essential part that she has to be here, which was very cool. And the other part of it was, it immediately thought about, like, man, have we come a long way from Super Sons.
Yeah.
Like their relationship, like now, how many years deep do they have to be? 20?
It's they've got Bruce and Clark relationship now, where it's like they're brothers now. Just talk like shorthand.
It is awesome.
And I remember in that issue, neither one of us liked Trinity because she was like cocky and
it was
smart,
weird.
Like screw her. Like this, I don't even want you. And now knowing who she is and how her relationship with them, like the little sister,
it's a little sister.
That's exactly right. Of course. And
it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
Being the little sister.
And she's got it's implied like now that they're Tom King said that like right now she's about 19.
Okay,
that's her superhero age right now. So like she's had adventures now, and who knows what these three have gone into. And Tom King said that his goal is the main thrust of this whole thing is Wonder Woman having Trinity, and then Trinity doing what she's going to do.
That's awesome.
And while the other Wonder Girls are going to be an intricate part of like the whole thing. So I am wondering like if we're eventually going to get to see the adventures that. I
really hope so. And I mean,
but I'd like that to be a different book. I still want Wonder Woman to be.
It needs to be adjacent because Trinity will be a woman raised by Wonder Woman. These other girls are not. I mean, they're like
raised by Wonder Woman, and your brothers are Damian Wayne and John Kent. She's going to be awesome.
So it writes itself at that point. But I mean, I think that. I mean, you have to include her in this podcast at least. I mean, as far as bringing it up, she'd be remiss if we didn't.
It's almost like she's the natural. End of like all these Wonder Girls and Wonder Woman's 80 years of history, like the next generation. What a great name, Trinity, completing the Trinity, and her name is Elizabeth Marston Prince, because William Moulton Marston, and he named her Elizabeth for his niece, which I'm all about. But then he found out that one of the main writers, I believe, was named Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. I don't know who, but it was I think it was like maybe later on. Yeah,
that's cool.
So, and Rick, you know that I'm sure you do. But the William Moulton Marston books, there are a lot of they're super interesting and super like Freudian, but they're not. They're kind of a slog to read. Those 45 to like, and he held on. He didn't want anybody else writing her either.
Well, remember he went to D.C. and was telling them he was on the board of advisors that they needed to make a strong female character.
Yeah,
they said, "Fine, you do it."
Yeah,
because they didn't have any idea.
And this guy was not he was not a comics writer, but he had a great idea, and he was also really into bondage. Really into bondage.
Yeah.
And he did
Wonder Woman's secret weakness. Most people don't remember in modern
and
times.
if you read those, if you look at any old 40s comic Wonder Woman comic from the post-war era, she's always tied up at least one time.
Well, if her bracelets touch, she loses all of her powers in the old stories. So most people don't know that
she's always
now.
getting tied up by other women, by other men in positions of power. Somebody would have a field day with that. Also, William Moulton Marston invented the lie detector machine.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. What a life! What have you guys
that's
done?
Crazy. Nothing. I read some Wonder Woman books.
But
lived as a throuple for a lot of his life, is what I heard.
Yeah.
And there is
weird stuff. Yeah.
Oh well, it's not a Wonder Woman podcast, but yeah, that's it though. But all of this, like celebrating all three Wonder Girls, they are great characters, and again, I can't keep plugging Wonder Woman. It's the best book from any publisher right now, and this latest issue is such a celebration of all three characters, and if you come away with this not thinking, okay, these three chicks are fucking awesome,
They are.
then yeah.
And they're all present, and that's kind of what led to the idea. It is women. Yes, it is Women's History Month. We're kicking it off with this episode being Friday, March 1st. But then they've been very present in Wonder Woman and like recently Wonder Girl, like and kind of hanging out. And it's just at the very least, if you pick up starting with Future State Wonder Woman. And then move forward with Yara, you will have all three.
Get the trade, the Yara trade that came out has
Homecoming
everything,
is what that's
everything you
called.
need with all the Joel Jones thing, and it's just it's such a great time.
Can we touch on the cinematic versions?
I wish a Rick would.
Because Gal Gadot, for me, not only
Not Wonder Girl.
She
though.
was Wonder Woman.
right,
Wonder Woman.
I think she does a fantastic job.
She does.
Stands out.
Yeah, no, she's
But
great.
I don't know the name of the actress that played Wonder Girl on Titans. Do you know her name?
I do not, but she did a fantastic job playing
She
Donna.
was, yeah, very,
Absolutely.
very good. What stands out to me, because I'm old, is the very first Wonder Girl I ever saw in real life, as it were, was Deborah Winger. She was Wonder Girl.
That's right.
On the Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she looked,
old,
she looked the part very
Linda Carter
much,
TV
very
show.
much, very much. I was gonna several years ago. I wanted a fan cast. I had Lucy Hale as as Donna Troy from Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, yes, I love her.
Great American sitcom. I'm sure everybody's seen it.
Have you seen her with The Flash?
No.
She has a Netflix TV special called Puppy Love, where she and the Flash, Grant Gustin, date on a website of pet owners, and the pets like each other, but the owners don't like each other, and they end up having to bond because the pets mate.
Boy, I can't imagine how that ends.
It's a cute little story, really.
Oh, okay.
And both of them are great in it. Plus, Grant has a beard in it. So
Her name is Connor Leslie, and it appears that those two are the only two that have played Donna Troy in that capacity. Is Julie Bennett and Connor Leslie,
Man.
that lady.
As of right now.
As of right now, I want to do this. I want to close it out with this. I guess Shane, because I don't know how familiar you are, Rick, but fan cast Yara.
Fan cast Yara.
I mean, I'm going to answer, but it's cheating. I want it to be like 19-year-old Sofia Vergara, but
No, hold
I'm
on.
kidding. Not for the attitude, but looks wise, she looks almost identical. Like it's crazy.
Hold on. I got to look up the name of mine because I have one.
You're fine. Like so, but personality wise, I'm
Might have-
thinking. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I just came up with this, so I don't even have my own answer that I can give.
Yeah. Isa Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see it.
Yeah. And if you guys have never seen Isa Gonzalez, she is in Michael Bay's Ambulance. Just Google it. Don't watch that movie. It's garbage.
Just
God, it's so.
what's the girl who just won Dancing with the Stars that was in Doctor Strange and the
I don't know if Charlie's
Multitude of Madness?
got the
Sochi
Gomez.
Gomez. Wouldn't she be? No?
well,
Not yet.
I know she's nice in. I mean, I think Yara's more fierce,
I think this girl could be first, but you're right. She might be a
and
little
I
young.
think she's a little young, and she's not. She's too young to play sexy for sure.
Absolutely.
Like Yara's wearing like.
You didn't see her on Dancing with the Stars then, apparently.
Well, I did not, and maybe it's completely possible, but like Yara's like, again, all these are like goddess level.
Do you have somebody?
I don't. I wish I did. We'd have to create. I mean, it's gonna have to be like one of those weird science things that Joel just has to conjure someone out of.
But if they do it, I think they'd go with an unknown anyway.
They'd have to.
Well, because it's like Superman or even Wonder Woman. Like the star is the character, so you just have to inhabit that.
Well, because she's got some lowest qualities about her as far as like sassy and confidence and stuff. So I'd have to pluck it from a bunch of different places. So I don't know.
God, that Joelle Jones run is great when she's on the bus with that guy and they start
Dude,
flirting.
it
And
was
I'm like,
nuts.
And normally that's the part of the comic I don't like, and I was so invested in whether or
Well,
not
the
they're gonna
panel
get
layout.
together
Remember
and-
how it was in the center and they had all of the fractured stuff around the outside?
Yeah.
Like, her stuff is like it's very creative, and that part of the reason why I like those books is like you can portray action in a different way with that panel layout if you don't let it dictate what you're doing.
It's something only this medium can do too.
Absolutely.
You can't do it in film or novels.
Maybe someone would like to hear that there is a Joelle Jones book that's on sale tomorrow during the anniversary sale.
Yeah, Lady Killers is down there. We're doing 30% off on all of our hardcovers and the trade paperbacks and such like that. We've got a couple copies of that down there for sure, and I would highly suggest that. Homecoming, the book that we've been discussing as far as Yara Floor, is, I think, the hardcover, the trade paperback. One of the two, at least, is down there. Great place to start. You'll get to see all the Wonder Girls we've been discussing today in that book. But I think with that, are we ready to wrap it up? You good? Have you said your piece about Wonder Girls?
Yeah, I'm just glad that they're all still here. I'm glad that they're in current DC continuity. I'm glad somebody as amazing as Tom King is writing it and Dan Sampier is drawing it.
Currently
And
wonderful hands.
Hopefully, in 100 years, somebody's doing a podcast about Yara.
About being an old Wonder Girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. And with that, I think we are going to keep preparing for tomorrow's party, and we will see you next week.
Stay alive long enough to hear us one more time.
Here we go.
Bye.